Welcome back to the Blitz and Kick podcast, where we talk all football all the time.
With the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft.
Welcome back, guys. As you can see on the screen, we are talking off-season for all AFC teams. Now, Kyle and I did just come back from the Combine. We put this together before the Combine, so there might be some tweaks. There's some things that have changed. Just bear with us as we kind of go through it. Kyle, let's talk AFC North.
AFC North, Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and the Steelers. Let's talk about the Ravens first. Your team, 13-4 in 2023. We know about Lamar. He was the MVP. Odell, I think you and I both agree, he was massively overpaid and he underproduced. Those running backs are still always hurt. They're always on IR. They can't stay healthy. Thank God for Gus Edwards, though. Defense, obviously, still solid. However, Mr. McDonald left for Seattle.
Old McDonald found a new farm.
Old McDonald found a new farm, and it's in Seattle, Washington. What stuck out to you about this year?
For me, I'm going to be honest with you, Kyle. I'll probably be the only Ravens fan that'll tell you we probably overperformed for what we should have. Especially losing a whole bunch of guys early to injury. I kind of thought we were toast. I didn't think we were going to do anything. And then the Browns lost Chubb. The Browns lost Deshaun Watson. The Bengals lost Joe Burrow. The Bengals started going downhill. The Steelers have Kenny Pickett. Like so many horrible things happen to all these teams. So it kind of left the door open for somebody to take that division, and we just happened to be there. That defense, though, is chef's kiss. Obviously, there's some things that we're going to have to address, but overall, it was a solid year by Baltimore. I just think we need a few more pieces, and we're back in it.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, let's move on to the free agents here, and then their cap as well. Right now, the Ravens are a little bit low. And by a little bit, I mean they're over the cap by about $10 million right now is what I'm seeing from overthecap.com. So not really great right now, but that is doable. That's fixable. Key free agents, Brad. On the board, we have Odell and Clowney. The reason why Matabuki's not up there is, well, they tagged him. And I think you and I both hope that he gets an extension and a reworked contract real soon.
Yeah, I was happy to see that he got tagged and we didn't let him walk. But I would be kind of okay with these two walking. I wouldn't mind Kyle Van Noy coming back if he's willing to work on a nice contract towards us, because we don't have a lot of leeway.
Yeah, I don't think if he does come back or if he goes anywhere else, I don't think it'll be a big contract. And I definitely don't think Clowney will get what he's looking for. He never really does. Beyond those two, you have Sam Mustipher, center, John Simpson, left guard, Kevin Zeitler as well. Those are the big ones. I feel like that's a lot of your interior offensive linemen. Ronald Darby, Geno Stone's a big one. J.K. Dobbins, who can never stay healthy. So there's definitely a few key pieces there along the offensive line they need to address. And that kind of brings us to their three biggest needs. And you could disagree with this. Anybody that watches, listen, you could disagree with this, Ravens fans, whatever. I have receiver, I have edge, and I have running back. And now that I'm thinking about it, offensive line's probably up there too with some of their free agents. So wide receiver, obviously, Odell's, I think, near the end of his career.
I don't know why we re-signed Nelson Aguilar too. That's a whole other.
It's a little odd. Flowers fumbled more than the ball. We'll see what happens with his whole shtick, his whole thing going on. Edge, obviously, Clowney and Van Noy are probably going to be a little bit expensive since the Ravens don't have that much money. And are Adafe Owa and David Ojabo ready to lead? We're not sure about that. And then lastly, the running backs are dead. All of them. It's time to get some new ones. And then again, I'd put offensive line in that mix as well.
For sure. Now that we have a chance, this is what we put pre-combine. And you know what? A.D. Mitchell, if he falls to us there, great. However, the guy that really stuck out to me when you're talking about interior guys, you know who I'm going to say too, because we were cheering next to his family when we were there at the combine. I want Kingsley Suamataia. And truthfully, we could probably trade out of the first round, still get Suamataia and be in a good spot. But all three of these guys would be studs for us.
Yeah, Adonai Mitchell, Jonathan Brooks, and Braden Fisk I have here as a little mock. But yeah, I think you could put Suamataia in there as well. I think maybe a Christian Haynes or a Christian Mahogany or a Dominic Puny in the second or third round. I think Braden Fisk is going to go higher than round 3 now. Just how crazy he tested at the combine. I think Jonathan Brooks, even though he is hurt and recovering, I still think a guy like him or a Blake Corum or a Jalen Wright, even someone that can carry the load a little bit for the Ravens and get a little bit more consistency out of that backfield. But, yeah, I mean, Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, Troy Franklin at the first round, I think would help that team a lot. And, of course, the Ravens always invest in defense too, so just watch out for that. But, yeah, so Adonai Mitchell, Jonathan Brooks, and Braden Fisk are just some guys I think the Ravens might target come the draft.
Absolutely.
Steelers are up next. Pittsburgh Steelers, 10-7 in 2023. Pickett needs to stick it. If he doesn't next year, he's probably gone. O-line is still a massive issue. Tomlin wins again. He gets above that vaunted 500 record, that 500 percentage. And then was T.J. Watt robbed of the Defensive Player of the Year? Some people would say yes. Some people would say no. What stuck out to you about the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2023?
Tim, I don't know if Tim's watching. Tim and I talked about this quite a bit. Myles Garrett's a great player. He really is. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful edge. But I have to be honest, TJ got robbed. Like, you don't post those kind of stats and then be like, It reminded me of Watt back in, 2011, when he should have been up for MVP and he wasn't, after posting better stats than, like, literally anybody in the league. And he won Defensive Player of the Year, but he should have probably been up for MVP also. It should not just be a quarterback award. Like my thoughts are on the Heisman. But, yeah, those Watt brothers certainly know how to collect some hardware, and I think he got robbed.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. I don't think he did. I just put that out there to see what everybody else would say. Here's my thing. Key free agents here for the Steelers. First of all, they have about $9.5 million in cap space, according to overthecap.com. They're key free agents. The Masons, Mason Rudolph, Mason Cole, and Okorafor along the offensive line. Other than that, it's pretty bare. You have like Blake Martinez, Chandon Sullivan, Marcus Golden, Levi Wallace. Not many great free agents, and I think all of these guys should go. Get them out of here. I don't care about them anymore. They need to all improve. Like, I like Mason Rudolph, and if you want to bring him back, go ahead. But are we really going to have a quarterback depth chart of Kenny Pickett and a rookie, or Kenny Pickett and more likely Russell Wilson or Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins and Mason Rudolph? That just seems like a lot of chefs in the kitchen. You know what I mean? Like, are we just going to keep doing what we did last year? Oh, we turned to this guy, and we turned to this guy, then we turned to this guy. I think it should be Kenny Pickett and a vet, or Kenny Pickett and a young rookie that they like. I don't think having all these quarterbacks is going to make it any better at all, in my opinion. What do you think?
I agree. I think also you tie up too much money in quarterbacks, and if you can't find the right guy, bring in a vet, gap him, let Pickett sit on the bench and learn some more. And then if he can't learn coming back after that vet is gone after 1 or 2 years, then you need to move on from Kenny Pickett and look for something else. And also, I agree on Okora 4. I would sign Okora 5. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so like the Steelers, I think would be in a pretty good spot if they had a good quarterback. Honestly, I mean, I know their cap space is a little bit lower, but that's easily workable.
But their weapons are so nice.
Yeah, their defense is still pretty good. Their weapons are good, and I think definitely you can win with them. And with the picks they have, like they can definitely grab. This is a really good offensive line class, right? So you can grab a few linemen, and I think you can be like okay there. But the quarterback position is definitely up in the air. So my biggest needs for the Steelers right now, I think they're going to get a quarterback. I really do. So I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go safety and corner. Joey Porter Jr. looked really good. He stepped up, but they need more, maybe at safety and corner a little bit. And then offensive line and offensive line. I have twice because it's a mess. Other than maybe a Sayamalu or a Broderick Jones who played well. Like, are we sure about Dan Moore Jr., Ryan McCollum, Nate Herbig, James Daniels? I don't think so. I don't think any of those guys are worth keeping. So my picks that I have for them, we can go to the next slide. I have Cooper DeJean in the first. He can fill out that safety corner role. I have Christian Mahogany, and I have Cedric Van Pran, the center from Georgia. Brad, what do you think if the Steelers got a haul like this?
Horrible for the Ravens. Great for the Steelers. Cooper DeJean would be an absolute stud. For those of you that don't know, he was still recovering from an injury at the combine. That's why he was not present in any of the drills. However, he is supposed to be good to go in April by his pro day. And I think lots of teams will be looking forward to his pro day because he was highly touted coming into the combine. So it was kind of disappointing that he wasn't able to help his draft stock because there were lots of other guys that really improved their draft stock at the combine. And he kind of missed out on that opportunity.
Yeah. No, there are rumors that Deontay Johnson might want to get traded. Those rumors are flying out a little bit. That's a little concerning.
I'm sorry, but if we didn't play fantasy, who?
Yeah. I mean, he's good. Like, he's a good number 2. I think George Pickens has cemented himself as maybe not like a number 1 in the league, but number 1 for the Steelers. So that's a little concerning if he wants to get traded. Again, however, this is a deep wide receiver draft. This is not a deep wide receiver free agent class. And after the news of Kevin Dotson re-signed with the Rams, it's not a big free agent guard class either, I don't think. Safety is deep, linebackers deep, running backs deep. So I think the Steelers, with their offensive line needs, their corner needs, they might have to invest fully in the draft. So something to watch out for with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Up next, we have the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco.
That was wild.
Comeback player of the year. 11-6 in 2023. Return of the Flacco. Chubb could be cut. I put that out there just because I hear a lot of Browns fans talking about it. Obviously, he's returning from injury. He costs a lot of money.
Could or should?
Could or should. You could make the case for should. I mean, we talked about running backs. They're short shelf life. They don't have a lot of money. They owe Deshaun Watson $70 million and a couple of massages. So, like, they don't have the money to do that. Defense was incredible. Obviously, we know that. And then just so many injuries. They had so many injuries, specifically along the offensive line. It was insane. I can't believe they even got to 11 wins with Joe Flacco. I think Stefanski and Jim Schwartz earned a lot of credit with that one.
I deeply enjoy that they had so many injuries and they did well, even though the Pittsburgh Steelers were pretty much healthy and still did worse than the Browns.
Yeah. I mean, I think they had a good game plan. Obviously, Stefanski's, I think, a good play caller. And they know how to develop offensive linemen, clearly.
Yeah.
And then also, their defense, they signed a lot of one-year deals, which brings us to their key free agents. They have a lot, and I'm going to read them to you. Ready? Jakeem Grant, Darius Smith, Nick Harris, James Prochet, Michael Dunn, Philip Walker, Maurice Hurst, Jerron Christian, Jacob Phillips, Jeff Driscoll, Deron Harmon, Matthew Adams, Anthony Walker Jr., Rodney McLeod, Kareem Hunt, Mike Ford, punter, I don't know who that is, Marquise Goodwin, Jordan Elliott, Harrison Bryant, Joe Flacco, Sione Takitaki, Shelby Harris. They have a lot, and that was because they signed so many 1-year deals last year. It was kind of a go in, like a go all in kind of year for the Brownies, and it didn't really work out. What do you think of their offseason plan? What do you think that's going to look like?
I think it fully depends on if they plan on trading into the first round or not. Because you're going to have to replace a lot of these guys, and your draft capital is not sexy. So do you take what you have with what picks you have, or do you try to trade into the first round, get a franchise guy, and hope for the best there? I think no. I think they're going to have to stick with what they have and plug in holes where they can.
Yeah, trade back I think is a probably a prevalent
plan.
option for them.
Yep.
I know it's not great, like you want some high picks, but listen, the Rams have done that forever up until this year, right? They trade away their first for seconds,
yep.
And they find guys to contribute. So, and the Browns kind of did that this year. If you think about all their injuries, they had a lot of young guys in there, a lot of 25, 26, 27-year-olds, even kind of somewhat veterans that just contributed and did well for them. So I think you have to believe in your system and continue to do that, because right now they only have about $6.8 million in cap space, so it's not great. Oh. Key free agents, Taki and Zadarius Smith. I think Zadarius Smith will probably go elsewhere. Wouldn't you think? He's probably not going to stick around. I think he'll get paid a decent amount that the Browns will not have. Yeah,
he should. Yep.
And he did well, but he's also 32. Like, he's probably money/ring chasing. Is he going to go back to the Browns? I don't know. I think both of them are gone. That's why I have the big X up there. I think Taki and Zadarius Smith are both gone. As for the rest of their 20 free agents, I don't know how many of these guys will be back. I think most of them could be gone, honestly. They really need to rework Deshaun Watson's contract a little bit, figure out Nick Chubb, maybe even rework Myles Garrett's contract too. So,
what are the biggest needs for the Browns?
Biggest needs, I have defensive end. We need someone opposite Myles long term. Offensive line, need I say more, is beat up. Maybe running back. Chubb might be the one injury away, or he might get cut.
Or he might have, that last injury may have been his retirement injury.
It could be. We don't know. So I think they have some big needs. So they have a 2, 3, and 4, I believe, and I don't think they're going to get all these guys. I think Braylon Trice is gettable. I think he's gettable in a second or third round.
I think a lot of people got off of Braylon Trice at the combine.
Yes.
It would be a project for them of a pick, not a home run, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the athleticism is not quite there. But I think in terms of being sufficient enough in his schemes, in his ability to play 3-down defensive end, and his smarts and his hand usage, I think he could contribute right away. I just don't think you're going to see massive production right away, or if any. I just think if you want a guy that can play opposite Myles Garrett that knows what he's doing, that's also might be available round 2, round 3, he might be one of the only guys, because most of those guys that kind of last to that pick are going to be projects, right? Blake Corum, I think he is most definitely available in round 2 or round 3. I also have Christian Mahogany out there. I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe a guy like Crum that we saw.
I'm sorry. You should have told me to change slides. I'm like, why are you talking about Braylon Trice? Sorry.
No, you're good. Crum that we saw that ran like a 4.94. I think he could be a guy, or I think a guy like McCormick could be someone in the 3rd or 4th round. But I do think they need
Bortolini too.
Bortolini, that wouldn't be bad too. There are a lot of guys interior and tackle wise that can contribute, I think, early for the Browns. And some of those guys on the offensive line, they could get cut or traded or released. Because if you look around the league right now, right, like there are a vast number of guys that were like, "What? He got released? What? He got traded?" Just a lot of guys like that, and that's because teams don't have the money, and they don't want to pay these guys. They just want to, let these 30, 31, 32-year-old guys just go. The Browns might be the next to do it, and I would not be surprised.
As long as they don't do something stupid like sign Mitchell Trubisky to 2-year, $15 million contract. So
Trubisky went to the Bills, so we're all good there.
yep.
Thank God, thank God for that. Bengals up next. Bengals, poor Bengals, 9-8 in 2023. Joey B was hurt. O-line obviously still an issue. We've been talking that since the Penei Sewell days. Can they keep all their receivers? No tight end really to speak of. And Joe Mixon, I put this on the list, and guess what? About a couple hours ago, we found out that the Bengals will probably release him. What do you think about the Bengals' 2023 season and off-season outlook?
Well, you already mentioned that we've been talking about O-line on this podcast for 4 years for the Bengals. So I'm not going to go there. I am going to start with the last 3 points. Can they keep all their receivers? Maybe. Boyd is not going to do anything if he stays. We saw that last year that his production severely dipped. Even if they keep Higgins, I know they tagged him. Should they trade him anyways and try to get what they can for him? I think sell. I'm always of the opinion to sell high, and I think with T. Higgins, I think you sell really high and you take what you can for him, because if you are going to get rid of a receiver and draft a new one, this is a great class to do that. So that's all I'm going to say about T. Higgins. Let's go to number 2. No tight end to speak of. Speaking of the draft, you are in a prime position. I'm seeing Brock Bowers fall incredibly far in this draft. You are not insane to go up 6-7 spots and go get Brock Bowers and give Jamar Chase another. I give up. Joe Burrow another weapon and Jamar Chase another pass catcher to work with. If you do get rid of Higgins, and then Mixon, this is dangerous for them. But I think this gives an opportunity for some younger guys and cheaper guys to step up, i.e. Chase Brown, who we talked about last year out of Illinois, being a speedster. I think their offense could use some cleaning up for sure. I think that was their biggest problem. And we've talked about that for years, is that their offense is their biggest problem, which is sad because they have some good stuff there.
They do. And it definitely does get ruined a lot by the offensive line play, much like the Dolphins as well, we will talk about in a bit. I think something to look out for, too, with T. Higgins is I think the league, with how it's going, receiver used to be not as important as a position. Now it's one of the most important positions in the NFL. Yep. And I think how cap space continues to go up, I think we're going to continue to see teams spend a lot of money on 2 receivers. I think that's how the league is going. And I think every team thinks they need 2 receivers. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got Higgins to a big contract and kind of neglected some of their other needs. That seems they already neglect the offensive line, so let's just keep doing it. Key free agents here, we have DJ Reader, a very good defensive lineman, interior play for them, and then Tyler Boyd. Like we said, can they keep all the receivers? I'm going to say both of them are probably gone. Akeem Davis Gaither is also a free agent. Cody Ford, Drew Sample, Max Sharping, Irv Smith, Jonah Williams at tackle, Chidobe Awuzie at corner. So they have a few pretty good guys that are going to be free agents there. It's a little concerning for them, but the Bengals do have about $48 million in cap space. They got some money to play around with. Talking about that extension, right? With Higgins, maybe another safety in free agency, maybe a linebacker too. So
there's only a few safeties,
Yeah, there's 20. They have the money to play with there, for sure. So the biggest needs right now, we have corner, no long-term answer there. Tight end, can you name me their tight end? Because I can't. I don't.
Was it Irv?
Okay, I guess I did say it was Irv.
Yeah.
Tanner Hudson. Yeah, just not guys that we are really familiar with. And then DT Reader, I barely knew her. They need defensive line help. I absolutely love Trey Hendrickson, big Trey guy. Miles Murphy, they drafted last year, not really there quite yet. But interior wise, if DJ Reader leaves, they're pretty bare on the inside. So we can go to their 3 guys in the draft that I gave to them. I gave them Nate Wiggins, Nate Wiggins, hack of the combine, right? Super speedy, big,
4.29.
insane. Chris Jenkins, I'm seeing a little bit more round one buzz. I still don't think he's going to go there. I
It's
think
the
this one,
Mozzie Smith thing all over again.
yeah. I don't see it quite yet. I think round two is more of a spot for him. And then Cade Stover. I think Cade can definitely fall to them at round three. And I think they could kind of get a steal there. I'm not saying he's a super athletic tight end. He's not. But I think to be a reliable tight end, a big target in the middle of the field, a yak kind of guy, but someone who can also block for them, I think would be a really really nice haul for them. I think that could clean up some stuff, but don't forget about offensive line. I think a guy like Latham maybe, or Amarius Mims maybe, or Tyler Guyton. I think one of those guys could be in play with their first round pick. What do you think?
Absolutely. I can't get past if they don't go Wiggins. They're definitely going to go Byron Murphy if he's still there, or they're going to end up going Brock Bowers. And I think the Bengals should be aggressive to trade up because, look, like I told you with the Ravens, it was just opportunity that got the Ravens where they were. And I think if Joey B is healthy, given the right guys to protect him, you could make a good run. You could make a good play for yourself. It's just it matters. This draft and what they do in the offseason matters very much for the Bengals.
All right, up next we have the AFC South. Our first team, Houston Texans, 10-7 in 2023. Rookies galore. Defense needs some work. CJ Stroud, so good in 2023. D'Amico deserves all the credit in the world. Nico Collins had a breakout. Will Anderson was good. Tank Dell before his injury was so good. And then we have some injuries up front too along the offensive line. One of the big things the Texans did already was they signed Schultz to an extension. And look at that. I have a check mark next to him. So they heard or they looked at my slides before making that call.
It's because I put those really cool red uniforms there. That's why.
Those are beautiful red uniforms.
Yeah.
You know what? And I don't think they would find as good of a contributor at tight end. I don't think
Schultz is good.
Yeah, I don't think they'd find one in free agency. And
No.
I think you don't want to reach for one in round one. You're not going to get Brock Bowers in round one. Probably not, unless you trade up. And then round two, maybe Jatavion Sanders, right? But even at that, you're not going to get a guy that will contribute as much as Schultz did this year. So good move by them getting Schultz. Sheldon Rankins is a free agent as well. Desmond King, Jonathan Grenard, that's a big one. He was really good for them. He's 27. He might get the bag, though. Watch out for that. Blake Cashman, a pretty good linebacker. He's 28 years old. Denzel Perryman. Noah Brown, who had some really good moments for the Texans this year.
Yeah.
He might get a decent contract, I would think. Devin Singletary as well. They should probably bring him back. Steven Nelson, they might bring him back at corner. So there's some decent guys there. I think they should probably bring back. But they have $70 million in cap space, so wouldn't really worry about it. I think they can bring the guys back they need to. So their biggest needs right now, I have D tackle. Other than Rankins, it's pretty barren there, right? Edge, I need someone opposite Will Anderson, someone better than Derek Barnett, and then cornerback. Steven Nelson's 31. I need someone opposite Derek Stingley. I think that would really help out their defense. We know D'Amico. We know what he loves. We know what he likes. We know that he loves pass rushers, linebackers. So
yes, I think he'll go defense round one. However, you had the same thought with Johnny or Jerzon Newton. I don't know why the switch to Johnny. I think I missed some news somewhere, but everything says Johnny, and I was like, "Who's Johnny?" And then I saw Illinois, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Johnny's his alter ego. Chris Braswell would be a home run pick. I would like to see the Alabama man take another Alabama edge rusher. That would just make my Tide fan heart happy.
Yeah,
and Braswell did good at the combine. It would make sense that he'd be a day two guy. And then DJ James, speaking of guys that had good combines, he's a little undersized, DJ James, but I think he's still worth a day two, day three pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jerzon Newton, from what I've heard, or Johnny Newton, from what I've heard, he's fallen a little bit. I don't like that. I think he's really good. So a team like the Texans to benefit from that would be incredible.
It's
DJ
the Carter
James.
thing again, except he doesn't have problems.
Right. I mean, I think a little bit is an injury, but also he's a little bit smaller. But
Who
we've
cares?
seen guys continue to buck that trend, like to be
Has
like,
anyone ever met the guy named Aaron Donald? He's not
right.
big either.
People need to learn, the eye in the sky does not lie. And Dune's a really good football player. So I think that'd be an incredible haul for them. Like I said, corner at pick 3, you could go earlier if you want, but I'm saying, like, look what the 49ers do. They have not invested a ton into their corners.
No.
It's all been about the front 7. And I think that's what the Texans are going to try to do. I'd also look out for a guy like Edgerrin Cooper in round 2. He's a guy that models his game after Fred Warner. And obviously we know D'Amico played with or he coached Fred Warner. So I'd look out for a Edgerrin Cooper or a Peyton Wilson, someone like that too.
Yeah. Before we hop into the Colts, speaking of the Colts, guys, go to our Facebook, enter the drawing. We are giving away a Josh Downs signed Colts flag free to you, our followers. However, there are instructions. You'll find them on the post. You'll see a picture of me with Josh Downs and a flag. Go on that, follow the instructions, enter into that. We will probably announce that either next week or the week after. So it gives you plenty of time to get in there and share. And anyways, yeah. So Colts.
Yeah, Indianapolis Colts. Decent year, better year than I think most of us thought. 9-8 in 2023. JT was hurt early on, came back. Richardson showed some promise early on, and then he got hurt. Minshew mania delivers again. Offensive line back to how it was. It's good. Defense, new problem. Defense is a problem. What about the Colts in 2023? What do you think about them?
I think they're stupid. They were going for a playoff push, and I don't think they were ready because Kyle, look me in the face and tell me you think Gardner Minshew can carry a team to a Super Bowl.
No, it can't.
So I didn't understand this. I thought, I know this was taboo years ago. I don't think it's just taboo now to tank to move up. You could have had Marvin Harrison Jr. You could have had kind of your pick of receivers. You could have had Brock Bowers. But now because you did well, you're sitting in the middle of the round, which is the dead spot, where you kind of have to hope for things to fall down to you. And I just thought it was really foolish for them to push that hard with Gardner Minshew. I've shared this with a lot of Colts fans. I know we have a lot of Colts fans that follow our podcast, but I appreciate what you're trying to do. I think if Richardson was there, yes, you push for the playoffs. You let him get playoff experience, and you do everything you can. But when Minshew was hurt and Taylor got hurt, when Richardson was hurt and Taylor got hurt, and the injuries started piling up, I would have stopped trying, truthfully. Because now you're just stuck with whatever you get at 15. Mm-hmm. Because if you try to trade up, you're going to have to jeopardize your future at this point. And I think they have lots of good pieces. Not enough to risk the farm to move up into the top 10 or top 5 to get something great. So I think they did themselves a disservice, truthfully.
Yeah, they are at a weird spot. I think tight end on offense, they're a tight end away. And what I mean by that is, I think the receivers, that's what they have. I think they're good. I think they can get better. Offensive line, we just talked about it. It's good. Richardson, we hope, is good. Jonathan Taylor, really good. So a Brock Bowers move, that would be awesome if he fell to 15. That would be perfect for them. But their defense is in trouble. So they can go to their free agents. Julian Blackmon, I'm pretty sure, is a free agent. Michael Pittman is a free agent. I assume they're going to bring him back. And I'm pretty sure they'll bring back Mania too. But along with that, not just Julian Blackmon, but I'm pretty sure Kenny Moore, their nickel, is a free agent, and Grover Stewart, who's pretty underrated at D tackle, is a free agent. The Colts do have $49 million, so they got some room to work. But their depth chart right now, Brad, it's Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner, Zaire Franklin, okay, Kenny Moore, free agent. Julian Blackmon, free agent. Nick Cross, not there yet. Ronnie Harrison, he's old. He's not good anymore. And then Dallas Flowers started last year. So Their defense is a total
That's
mess.
atrocious.
It's scary. And they need to start, not start. I think they have invested some pieces into it, but this offseason would be the offseason to,
Bring in some stars.
bring in some guys. I mean, we talked about the safety market, we talked about the linebacker market, and then these corner group is pretty incredible in the draft. We talked about it before. So I would say their biggest needs: safety. Blackman's gone. Defensive end, I need a dominant force. And cornerback, Kenny Moore is great. He is more of a nickel, but he also might be gone.
How dare you talk about defensive end? Adetomiwa Adebaware is an absolute freak, and you know it, Kyle.
Oh, I like him. He just wasn't even on the depth chart that I looked at, so that tells me all I need to know. That's pretty bad. So the three that I have for them: Jared Verse. He could be the guy. Him or Dallas Turner. Listen, there's so many quarterbacks, receivers, corners at the top of this draft. I think defensive end might be the thing that falls a little bit. So I think a Dallas Turner or a Jared Verse could fall to them. I think that would make sense. And this Rex Straw Jr., who did not have a great combine, but I think is a very physical, lengthy corner. And then Cole Bishop. We really liked what we saw of Cole Bishop at the combine.
Yeah, we did. He was solid and fast.
Yeah, really, really fast. Yeah. And trust me when I say, he stretched in front of me for like 40 straight minutes, and he was pretty good at stretching. So if that tells you anything, Cole Bishop is going to be a star. But seriously, I think like their defense needs a total overhaul. Even Kenny Moore and Julian Blackman, both of them are, I think, hurt quite a bit too. So like they're not like, oh, we need to bring them back. They're gonna it's iffy still. So, but do you think they should go all defense in the draft, or do you think, let's say, a Brock Bowers?
Didn't the Panthers do that a couple years ago? Somebody did that a couple years ago. Every pick of theirs was defense.
Panthers did that, and it didn't really work out. Honestly,
no.
None of them.
I will still say, just take the best talent available. Try to fill the need that you have with the best talent available. But I would never just go all defense or all offense. That's goofy. Yeah,
Derek Brown, I think, was their first pick, and he was really good. After that, it was kind of miss after miss after miss. Yep. It leaves us to the Titans, 6-11 in 2023. Whoa. Mike Vrabel, you're out. Sorry. Callahan, you're in. Levis looked pretty solid. The team's it's a mess. I'm trying to remake them on my franchise mode, and that's pretty hard. So if that tells you anything. And then Derrick Henry.
Future Raven.
Oh, let's hope. We can only hope. Key free agents for the Titans, Derrick Henry and Tannehill. I think they're both out. Get them out of here. Tannehill will be a backup somewhere. Derrick Henry will be a Raven. And then Azeez Al-Shaair. He was a former 49er. Took a 1-year deal with the Titans this last year and did really well.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I think they should bring him back. Other than that, they have Calvin Throckmorton, Kayvon Wallace. I'll tell you what, a lot of these guys aren't even good. Travis Gibson, Chris Hubbard, Morgan Cox, Chris Moore, Christian Fulton was a young pick at one point. Did not turn out so well
Christian Fulton.
Sean Murphy.
Tech?
What's that?
Christian Fulton. What, corner?
Yes, corner, LSU. Sean Murphy Bunting, former Buccaneer. Diego Autry, not bad. So not a ton there. But the Titans right now, they sit at $75 million in cap space. So again,
but who wants to come play for the Titans?
right. Will Levis look good, but I don't think he is inspiring to be like, I want to play with the guy that puts mayonnaise in his coffee. No one's there yet.
So. I want to catch a pass from the guy who eats bananas with the peel on.
Right. Yeah, I don't think anyone's inspired by that quite yet. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be a hot free agent destination. But I think they could throw a bag at somebody and they'll probably come. I think Callahan, right? He brought his dad, and that's the offensive line guru. So I think if there are any offensive line free agents, that could be where the money goes, and that could be where the guys go.
That's possible. I thought you were going to needs. Sorry, I kind of jumped you.
Oh no, you're good. Yep, I'm going right there to needs. Tackle, obviously, Skoronski was great. But he could be an even better guard. Wide receiver Hopkins is an old nuke. He's no longer a nuke. He is a dart, and we need to get rid of him. DT, maybe not get rid of him, but we can't count on him. DT, Jeffrey Simmons needs a dancing partner. He really does. He's an incredible player, and they extended him. We love that they extended Jeffrey Simmons, but man, everything along that defensive line besides him is a little iffy. Same with linebacker, especially if they don't keep Aziz. And then, man, corners are pretty bad too. So, and safeties, gosh. And offensive line. It's all a mess. It's really bad. Receivers are pretty bad too. Running back will just be Tajay Spears. I mean, that's kind of why I put team as a mess at the front, because it's a mess. It's really bad. I would not be surprised if they were one of the worst teams in the NFL next year. Top 3 needs, top 3 picks for them. I have Joe Alt. Listen, I mean, Brad, you and I have talked about it with the Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase thing. I get that Odunze is going to be there. I get that Malik Neighbors might be there. But listen,
who cares?
You got to start somewhere. I don't think you start at receiver. You need to give Will Levis some time to throw. And this is a deep tackle class, so sure, you could get one in the second, but are you going to get Joe Alt in the second? No, you're not going to do that. I have Xavier Worthy as well to them. That would be sneaky good. I would love that fit. And then Tyler Davis in round 3 as a kind of partner with Jeffrey Simmons. Where do you think they should go?
A tackle. Take the best tackle off the board. You're in a perfect spot for it. And Joe Alt is quick. We saw him in person. He's quick for a 6'8" guy. He can move. I don't think Worthy will be there day 2.
It's.
But you'd still have your pick of Troy Franklin. There's a couple other guys I'm just not thinking of right now. But it's a deep class. Jermaine Burton could go here. Some of those guys that performed really well that'll probably go day 2.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you can get Worthy in the second round, steal. Anyhow, let's talk about the Saxonville Jaguars. Not quite. Their defense was huge. 9-8 in 2023. Trevor is mid. I agree. Defense has talent but needs Nielsen. Ridley could be on his way out. O-line is a mess. Should Josh Allen stay or should he go? Well, this is a little bit old because Josh Allen has received the franchise tag from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a great player. That was a smart move by the Jacksonville Jaguars. O-line is a mess. Do I think they'll address in the first round? No. They need more defense so you can keep Trevor off the field all the time trying to win your games. What do you think about the Jacksonville Jaguars this year?
Yeah, I think they're a little bit of a mess. Obviously not as big of a mess as the Titans, but Lawrence was hurt a lot. Doug Peterson at the Combine said we really need to keep him upright. So I think that kind of signals, hey, we need to keep surrounding Trevor. I mean, the Jaguars have invested a lot into the defense. And for it to be that bad, come on. So I'm hoping Ryan Nielsen from the Falcons can step up their game a little bit, and then maybe they can go get a tackle, right? And maybe they can go and get another receiver. And help out Trevor a little bit more. But, I wouldn't say Trevor was totally bare with weapons. They got him some stuff, so.
No, I just think Trevor sucks.
He needs to be better. Point blank, he needs to be better for all this hype.
Especially when you could have won this division. You could have won this division hands down.
Yeah, this division was pretty bad. There's not too many times where you get a C.J. Stroud-led Texans team, rookie head coach. It's hard to do, and the Texans did it. I'll give them all the credit in the world. They deserve to get there, but that's saying a lot. The Jags couldn't overtake them. But yeah, key free agents for the Jags. Oh, look at that. I put a check mark across Josh Allen. Good, they listened to me. Calvin Ridley, I think, is on his way out, and he should go.
I think he's too expensive.
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to be – I think he's good, but I don't think he's going to be worth what he wants. I think they should go elsewhere. even though wide receiver is pretty bare for them, I think, after him. Shaq Quarterman, Matt Barkley, who cares? Ezra Cleveland, free agent, but they just extended him about 3 years, $48 million. Again, like I said, the guard class was pretty good, and then Dotson and Ezra Cleveland both got extended, so it's starting to look poor. Calvin Ridley, K'Lavon Chason, Dwayne Smoot. Yeah, so they got their guys, their big guys, Josh Allen and Ezra Cleveland. Ridley is probably on his way out. So that kind of brings us to our needs, which is wide receiver. No long-term answer. I don't even think Christian Kirk's a long-term answer. He's more of a
they
slot.
overpaid him.
Yeah, they did. I mean, that's what free agency is, right? You get a little antsy to get a top receiver. Like, you overpay him. I mean, 4 years, $84 million. That's kind of insane. I like what Parker Washington showed last year, but he was kind of more of a slot guy. So 2 slot guys, not great. Offensive line, they definitely need a tackle guard. And then corner, Jags are at the bottom of passing yards allowed this year. And they have about $25 million to work with. So not tremendous, not great, because Josh Allen's going to need to get that extension in there too. And
they're going to sign Tyreek Hill to a $7 million deal for 1 year.
Who?
Tyreek Hill.
I mean, they need a lot for sure. I mean, I like some of their pieces, like Anton Harrison, rookie last year, did fine. Brandon Scherf is a little older. Luke Fortner is a young guy. I'm not a Cam Robinson guy. I think they should move on from him. So that kind of leaves me with that tackle. We need a tackle in there. And then, corner as well. But, I mean, look at all these guys, right, that they've drafted. I mean, Josh Allen's there. Devin Lloyd's there. Chad Muma's there. Trayvon Walker's there. Tyson Campbell's there. Antonio Johnson's there. Andre Sisco's there. God, I'm pretty sure I've missed a few, but, like, they've put a lot in there. And even signing Olokun at linebacker, they've invested quite a bit. But they need to get – hopefully Nielsen can kind of work that out. But that leaves us with their biggest needs, like I just said. And then the guys to fill them, I like Keon Coleman, and I'm not afraid to say it.
I agree.
I love Keon Coleman. I don't know why he's getting the hate. I don't understand it.
I made a face about your second pick.
You can cry all you want, not just you, people out in the football sphere. I think he actually might fall to round 3 now. Actually, those picks could be flip-flopped. Pooney could be in round 2, and Kalen King could be in round 3. And Pooney is, I think, versatile enough to play tackle and guard. That could be a really good pick for them. And I think Kalen King in the right system could play corner, but he could play safety as well. And that's a need for them too. So I think they can do a lot of their damage in the draft. They don't have a ton of money to work with. But really, the number one thing going forward is let's get our defense to be at least average with Ryan Nielsen. So hopefully that's where they're going to go.
For sure. Let's hear from our sponsor, and then we're going to hit the AFC East.
Fresh Cuts has been one of our amazing sponsors since day one. Slide on over to Fresh Cuts, talk to Caleb, because it's not just a haircut, it's an experience. Book with him now. Mondays are his most available days, but you can hit him up anytime for a fresh cut.
Look at that handsome stud on the screen. AFC East. Let's go Bills. 11-6 in 2023. Josh Allen is indeed that dude. Bills invested in the O-line. It shows. James Cook breakout. We called that one on this podcast. Kyle called that one on this podcast. Defense is getting older, and we're cutting literally every single player on our defense. Joe Brady saves the day. Kyle, your thoughts about the Bills?
Man, I feel so bad for the Bills, honestly. They were close again. They just can't get over the hump. Hoping next year is the year, but I doubt it. I think that's just who the Bills are, unfortunately. But beyond that, beyond the season, they signed David Edwards' 2-year contract. They traded away Ryan Bates. They released Jordan Poyer, Mitch Morse, Naeem Hines, Deontay Hardy, Tre'Davious White. Wow. Like, he was so good. I know he's been hurt, but, like, that's crazy. Restructured Rasul Douglas, restructured Von Miller. They need to get under the cap That's kind of what all these moves are, because the Bills right now sit at negative $9 million. So, man, I honestly, what I would have done, and then the money probably wouldn't work on it, but I would have kept all those guys and then got rid of Stephon Diggs. Honestly, Diggs did not show up at the end of this year, and that's kind of where I'm at.
He wants out.
Like the Bills got there. Josh Allen got them there. It was him. It was all him. And he just needed his receivers to make a play in the playoff game, and Diggs was nowhere. Like Kincaid was there. He showed up. Even Shakir showed up. Yeah. Diggs did not show up at all. And their defense was just dead at the end of the year. And that's kind of where it brings us to with these free agents, right? Micah Hyde's a free agent. Poyer, they released. Gabe Davis didn't show up. He was always hurt. Shaq Lawson, AJ Epinesa, Taylor Rapp as well. Dane Jackson's a free agent. Tyrell Dodson's a free agent. Poona Ford, Linval Joseph, Matakevich, Tim Settle, Jordan Phillips, Daquan Jones, Leonard Floyd, Micah. That's a lot of guys. They're old. They're free. I mean, they need to retool, revamp that whole defense.
I think the Bills' window closed last year.
It might have. I mean, it might have. I mean, I love what McDermott can do. I think he's very good at getting everything out of his defense. Like, if you want to squeeze all lemon juice out of the lemon, he's the guy to do that. But the talent is starting to get lower on the defense, and the skill position, specifically Diggs, is getting older on offense. So it's not a good offseason, not a good start for them. It's actually very, very bad. Very bad. And I am disappointed for them, and I think they still will be okay. It's Josh Allen, right? But it's not a good start for them for this offseason.
No, it's not. Let's talk about the needs. You've kind of already talked about it. Safeties is the old folks' home. We're seeing them shove them off to the retirement home, which means they'll go to the Buccaneers, if you remember that joke we made several years ago.
Yes.
Edge, AJ Epinesa is gone. Von Miller's done. You need a better threat there. Ed Oliver can't sack the quarterback and run around the edge. That's just not feasible. Wide receiver Diggs. You need to trade Diggs and get what you can for him. Shakir stepped up, but you need a number one guy, and Diggs down the line just did not prove that he can be the number one guy for Josh Allen anymore. And I'm sorry. They're going to have to address that. Which I think they could address very well. I think Bo Braid and Ricky Pearsall here could switch. But Chop Robinson would be a killer first-round pick for them, a 4.4940, tested very, very well at the combine. Ricky Pearsall had a quick, I think he had 4.51 for a wide receiver, which is, or 4.41 maybe. I don't know. I'm going to go back.
Yeah,
he did. But he was pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then Bo Braid. Safety, yeah, you're letting go of every single safety, and the safety free agency class is good, so maybe they can re-sign somebody for a short deal.
Yeah,
but they're either going to have to get really aggressive this year or just admit that they're done and rebuild.
Yeah, I think they're a team like the Browns, right? I think maybe with their first two picks, I think you get a receiver and an edge. And then after that, you just continue to trade back and fill your roster. It needs filled. I mean, offensive line, they like the five that they have, but they only have five guys. Like, they need depth along there. They need another receiver, and they need a whole heck of a lot of defense. I mean, it's empty. The cupboard is bare. Even Matt Milano's getting up there, right? I mean, it's bare. So, and are they going to extend Greg Russo? Like, they don't have money to do it right now. So, they're in a tough bind. So we'll see what happens with them. Hopefully they can get out of it. Talk to me about the Jets.
Rodgers' last 2 seconds, which is longer than a lot of guys that we know. 7-10 in 2023 for the Jets. Is Saleh the guy? Holy overpay Alan Lazard. O-line's an issue. Defense very good. I'm going to add one more here. Zach Wilson on his way out. Can they at least get a ham sandwich for the poor guy? Let's find out. My thoughts on the Jets are not very high. They struggled mightily without Rodgers, and I don't know that Rodgers can fix all the problems that they have. Speaking of the problems that they have, let's go to free agents first, and then we'll address their problems. Bryce Huff, Carl Lawson. Let's be honest. If you weren't a big football fan, would you even know who these guys are?
I do. I would hope you. Well, I don't know. I think they're both very good. Carl Lawson.
I just don't watch the Jets enough to care.
Right. No one does. That's why they struggle this year. Hey, we have Aaron Rodgers. People watch us now. Nope. Never mind. All right. So could you put Zach Wilson on primetime? Dear God, that was a horrible idea. Yeah. I mean, both are gone. Most likely, both will go somewhere else. Bryce Hall to Trevor Siemian. Oh no, Ashton Davis. Remember him, the safety from Cal. Billy Turner, Connor McGovern, Solomon Thomas at another edge. Randall Cobb, Greg Zerloin, Quentin Jefferson, Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton's interesting. I don't know if he'll get another shot somewhere. I think he should, but of course, all those injury, weight problems stuff. Chuck Clark, Jordan Whitehead, a couple safeties lost as well. And then Dwayne Brown. They also cut CJ Uzama recently as well, if you didn't know that.
That was weird.
Yeah. So another team that's
what's their cap space?
Oh, yes. Their cap space is $20 million. So okay. Not bad. I think they need to use some of that. Well, you know what? There's no good receivers in this class. So maybe they can get out of the Lazard contract somehow. Maybe pick up a little bit more money. But they do have like 28 in dead cap as well, which that's not a great number for them. So their biggest needs, I would say, from looking at their depth chart, looking at their free agents, safety, obviously. I just said Chuck Clark's gone, Whitehead's gone. Offensive line, need I say anything more? I don't. Main reason why Aaron Rodgers is dead. Defensive line, depth is decreasing. Defensive ends are gone. We could also use another guy next to Mr. Quinnen Williams. So what do you think about my – I think, again, 2 and 3 could get switched here. What do you think about that haul for the Jets?
I would add 4. Oh, I'm sorry. You're on the – yeah, you're over here. 4 for their needs. I would add wide receiver too.
Yes.
Garrett Wilson can't do it by himself.
Right.
Fuaga, there's been lots of insider connections between Fuaga and the Jets. Apparently the Jets are enamored with Tyrese Fuaga. And if you watch this combine, you know why. He was absolutely one of the best testers in the combine for offensive linemen. Kalen Bullock, we got to see him. He is definitely a riser. He did very good at the combine. Dwayne Carter, good inside interior guy. I don't think he did anything at the combine, did he? If he did, it wasn't noteworthy.
Yeah. He had a very good Senior Bowl, but I don't think he did much at the combine, if anything.
Let's go Patriots. 4-13 in 2023. Bye-bye, Billy Boy Belichick. Christian Gonzalez is a stud. Mac Jones might be a dud. So is their entire offense. Please name for me the receivers for the Patriots. If you can do that, I will give you a gold coin. D has some pieces to work with. Yikes, 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 yikes. That's all I'm going to say about them. I don't even think, we know, I don't even think a premier quarterback could have lifted them out of that. Brady proved that he made the best of what he had around him. Yeah. And Mac Jones is no Brady for all the comparisons that they tried to make about that. I like Mac Jones, but I never agreed with that. Free agents.
Free agents for the Patriots, Josh Uche and Kyle Duggar. I said they should let Kyle Duggar walk. They disagreed with me. I think they put a transition tag on him. So they'll probably sign him to a contract. The reason why I said that is because he's 28. For a team that's rebuilding, I don't think it makes much sense to pay a 20-year-old safety. But whatever. Screw me, I guess. Josh Uche, too. I think they should re-sign him, but I think he's going to get a bag elsewhere. I don't think he's going to go back to the Patriots. No. Is my thoughts there.
4-13 is a hard selling point to say we're going to turn that around.
Yes. And I think they might even like Gerard Mayo, but I think Uche could be in a prime position. Like I said, not a great edge rush free agent class. I think he's the cream of the crop, honestly. Jalen Mills, Michael Onwenu, Jalen Rager. Well, that's actually that's not a key loss. It's a key gain. Pharaoh Brown, Anthony Jennings, James Ferentz. Is that Kirk Ferentz's son? Who cares? Josh Uche, Mac Wilson, Cody Davis, Miles Bryant, Matt Slater, Zeke Elliott, Mike Gesicki, Kendrick Bourne, oof. Riley Reif, Trent Brown, oof. Hunter Henry, oof. Yeah, their offense is devoid of talent.
Anything
at all.
That's why I don't want Jaden Daniels to go there because he's gonna suck.
He will die. I think Cole Strange might be the only guy on there that's half decent. That's strange. And Ramondre Stevenson, but I can see him getting traded this offseason for the right price.
What, Ramondre?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, I think like that would make sense. Like
for my fantasy sanity, I hope so.
Yeah. Like I said, their defense does have some pieces to work with, right? Christian Gonzalez, Peppers, Duggar's back, Tavai, Bentley, Keon White. Dietrich Wise is still okay. I think they have some guys there, but their offense is so bad.
What's their cap space?
Their cap space, they should have a bunch of it. Pretty sure they do. Yep, it is the second most in the league with $88 million. So, yeah, they got a bunch of money. However, who are you getting? There's nobody on offense to get besides running backs, man. Like, who you getting? They could throw $40 million at I don't know, Noah Brown if they wanted to. Stupid like that, sure, but that's not going to help you.
We'll give you $40 million for the first overall pick.
Yeah, I don't. It's so bad. Yeah, so I would say their biggest needs: quarterback, mac and cheese, wide receiver. If Rager is on the roster, there's some issues. And offensive line, I've heard this argument on many podcasts. People are saying they could use 4 new guys. And there's no way you revamp an offensive line with 4 new guys in one off season.
No,
not possible. So they're yeah, it's rough. I'm happy to see it. Sorry, Patriots fans, if anybody's listening, you were so good for so long. It was about time to be at the bottom of the barrel. So just take your time down there. The grass is green. Step outside, get some fresh air. What do you think of my haul for the Patriots with Drake May, McConkey, and Christian Jones?
I think the biggest winner on this list is Christian Jones. You thought I was going to say Ladd McConkey. It's Christian Jones. He tested very well in a very deep offensive lineman class at the Combine. I think you and I commented several times that we're like, oh, who's this kid? And he did very well. Ladd McConkey, steal on day 2. Most execs have said they have a day 2 grade on McConkey, so it makes sense. May, is he Trubisky 2.0 or will he be better? I guess we'll find out.
Your career might be over.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially because he's not the most NFL-ready prospect that needs to be thrown into the fire.
For sure. So I want to see what you think on this. I've heard rumors that if there's any team in the top 3 that's willing to trade down, it'd be the Patriots. So what do you think if they did this? It might be better, okay, for them to trade down, get a bunch of picks to overhaul this roster, and maybe draft
at 12
back next year. So, you know what I mean? Like
Drew Allard to the Patriots.
Oh God, no. Please no. I think that might now I'm thinking about it. I think that's a better option. I think you're going to ruin a quarterback's career.
Because fans are impatient, and you put a new guy in there, they're going to say, we want the new guy, and then the new guy's going to suck, and they're going to say, this guy sucks, and then he's done.
Yeah. I think they should trade back and get a haul. I think maybe to the Giants, if they want to trade up for Drake May or J.J. McCarthy. God, I don't know why you want to trade up for J.J. McCarthy, but it seems like they're willing. Or to the Vikings at 11, that could be a spot as well. Or
that'd be interesting.
The Raiders.
The Raiders.
even though I think a quarterback will go to die there as well. But
the Raiders will trade up from Bo Nix at 3.
Oh,
I'm sorry. They just don't pick
if
well.
Mike Mayock was the GM still, I would 100% agree with you. I think
they just don't pick well in the first round. Name me the last first-round pick that's done so insanely well for the Raiders. You can't. You're going to start with Jamarcus Russell. Yeah. Anyways.
Dolphins.
11-6 in 2023. Vic went home to Philadelphia. The receivers are probably the best part of this team. They are elite. Tua, we'll see. I think a lot of that has to do with injury. A-Chain is electric. A-Chain, jump on the A-Chain train. Ooh. I kind of turned into, oh my God, what's his name? What's his name? Ooh, yeah, I definitely think that's the way. What's his name? The actor.
Oh, Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I will definitely select him in fantasy. Yes, yes, a running back. Sorry. Line is still an issue, and the defense is banged up. There's not much to say here. You went 11-6. That's great, but I don't think you're at the next level yet.
Let me tell you how screwed the Dolphins are. First of all, they're -20 in cap space. Okay. They have to pay their quarterback. That's just the going rate. Their offensive line, again, an argument could be made. They need 4 new starters. Christian Wilkins is a free agent. He's going to go somewhere else. Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are going to start the year on IR, most likely. And Xavier Howard just got cut. They're starting 2 safeties, Deshaun Elliott and Brandon Jones, who they used a lot. They're free agents. And Jalen Ramsey's old. So, yeah. And Jerome Baker, he's gone too. So I said they should keep both these guys. And I think they should. But obviously they're not going to. So, yeah, they are screwed, in my humble opinion.
So their biggest needs then?
Everything. D tackle, obviously. Wilkins to get in the bag. I said you could get his replacement or his running mate. Looks like it's going to be his replacement. Offensive line, interior has some holes. I would say yes. If Teron Armstead is back, the 3 middle guys need to go. They need some new blood. But I think Armstead is considering retirement, so that's tackle as
dangerous.
Well.
Yep.
And then corners are being paid millions. It would be nice to get something cheaper. And they heard my call. They got rid of Xavier Howard, and they need another corner.
Let's add one more here. Edge, Jalen Phillips. That was kind of a severe injury. I don't know how long it's going to take for him to come back.
Yeah, he was very good. But, both those injuries for both those guys are concerning. You definitely need some edge, like, right away. Otherwise, you're going to have a very poor start to the year. So the 3 guys I have for them, I have Byron Murphy, who I think could fall to them now that I'm hearing everything. Christian Haynes.
I called it before we went to the combine. I told y'all Christian Haynes was going to go off.
We are big Christian Haynes fans here on this pod. And then Jarvis Brownlee, who's more of a nickel, but, maybe could play some safety as well. Like I said, they lost 2 safeties there. What do you think of this haul? Should they go somewhere else? Or is this about where you think they should go?
If Byron is gone, go JPJ. That's the most solid fit I can think of for them. Other than that, I like everything else.
Yes. Big JPJ. They should JPJ. They should definitely look at him in the first round.
He's a turd for not running the 40 though. Anyways. AFC West, our last division. If you're still with us, praise you, because we have been going for an hour and 8 minutes. So let's see if we can speed round this. Let's go to the Kansas City Chiefs. Need we say anything other than we are the champions? Yes, we'll say one more thing. She is the champion of bringing $330 million to the Chiefs in the NFL in revenue. Did you really think they were going to let her lose? Anyways, let's go to key free agents. They did not listen to you, Mr.
Okay, but they're going to, and here's why. L'Jarius Sneed got tagged, all right? but they're only tagging him to trade him. He's going to be gone, and they'll have that money to sign Chris Jones back. It's going to happen. I'm putting it out in the universe. You can always replace corners, but you cannot replace D tackles who move like Chris Jones and who move so fast that his ding-a-ling falls out while running. You can't replace.
I was going to change that picture, but it was just I knew the reference and it was too solid.
Right. I was like, I had to.
What are they at for cap space?
Yep, Chiefs are at about $3.5 million, and that's right about where they should be. Like that's they won the freaking Super Bowl, and if you're over, you're under the cap by that little, who cares? Like you're in a good spot. Mike Dana is a free agent as well. Deion Bush, Derek Nottie, Blaine Gabbert, who cares? Jerick McKinnon, Blake Bell, Willie Gay Jr. is a decent one. Tommy Townsend, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not what we thought he was going to be. Drew Tranquill played pretty well for them this year. He's a free agent. Donovan Smith, tackle, free agent. He did pretty bad. Mike Edwards, Mecole Hardman. So there's a couple ones on there, but I think they can replace most of them.
Speaking of key free agents, please refer to my previous slide. Moving on. $3 million's not bad. Chris Jones is a must. And I think if they don't re-sign him, they're going to be in some serious trouble, which brings us to their big needs. Wide receiver. Wow. We talked about it all season long. Could not find anybody with hands besides Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice was the bright spot for them at wide receiver, and kind of the only bright spot because nobody could catch. Tight end, Kelsey's replacement. Yeah, if you're to ask Kyle who that should be, he was probably going to tell you Ben Sinnott. Linebackers. 2 linebackers hit free agency. This is a decent class for linebacker.
It's all right.
Peyton Wilson, Edgerrin Cooper could be targets here. You could probably get Sinnott in round 3 or round 4 and still round yourself out. Which brings me to your mock draft. Oh, I forgot you put Ben Sinnott on here. Look at you go.
Oh, yeah, look at me. I have Jalen Polk, Trotter Jr., and Ben Sinnott. I think Trotter Jr. and Sinnott are both, I think you could get them both in second and third round. Polk, I think there's going to be someone else.
Unfortunately, it's going to be Xavier Worthy.
That's possible, man. And listen, those guys who run that fast usually do not turn out in the NFL, but
no,
I'm sure he will for the Chiefs. That's how the NFL runs.
Yeah.
But that would be incredible for them. Obviously, a deep threat like that. But honestly, they could use again like a real receiver, maybe like a Leggett or a Keon Coleman, an X receiver. What's that?
AD Mitchell.
Yes, of course, him. I mean, there's obviously a lot of receivers. Polk, they could draft Polk eventually, like round 2. He could be their round 2 guy for sure. But I think if you're looking at receiver in round 1, I think there's someone better than Jalen Polk. But that's kind of where I think they should go. Tackle, that's an option as well. But I think the Chiefs are very good at this. Is just getting kind of a mid-level tackle, putting him in and letting him work and then being fine.
So you mean the Eagles?
What? No, I mean like the Eagles develop tackles. I would say the Chiefs, they take mid tackles and they're still mid, but it's like Patrick Mahomes running around.
Okay.
Andy Reid fighting.
I was like, Kyle, you're saying the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they're capable of doing because their interior 3 are pretty good. And then they're paying Juwan Taylor a buttload of money to have a holding play a holding flag every game.
He's ridiculous.
But the other tackle position, they could draft one, but they could also just get I think an average to okay guy, or maybe even trade for one. Get like a Michael Onwenu, who's a free agent from the Patriots. Get him, and I think they'd be okay. Raiders, tell me about the Raiders.
Free agents. No, I'm kidding. 8 and 9. I thought you were going to say Squidward.
Yeah.
Great. 8, 9, 2023 is pretty bad. Who's the QB? Who knows? It's not going to be O'Connell. It's not going to be Garoppolo. And let's be honest, the free agent quarterbacks suck. you're either going to have to trade for somebody and hope for the best, or you're going to have to draft and hope for the best. Probably. Is that what I did in my mock draft? I put him to the Raiders.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think
round 2 is more likely for him with the Raiders, but
quarterbacks always get overpicked.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs down year. I don't think it matters. Jacobs will come back. Hello, Antonio Pierce. He just seems ecstatic to be coaching the Raiders. And I can't remember the last coach that was actually excited to be coaching the Raiders. However, he was at the Combine because it is a mess of a team and they need to put in a lot of work.
Yep.
Let's talk, besides Max Crosby, key free agents. Josh Jacobs, I agree with you. I think Jacobs needs to look for greener pastures at this point.
And that's why. I think they need to re-sign him, but I think it won't happen. I think he should go somewhere else and get a bag somewhere else. Honestly,
agreed. Bilal Nickel, who even are you? So running back, O-line, and corner. Josh Jacobs might not be back. I can't even think. Zamir White is behind him.
Yeah. Yep.
O-line. There's a reason Jimmy G didn't succeed, guys, and it's not because he didn't have Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Josh Jacobs.
Let me tell you who their offensive line is besides Colton Miller. Who's good?
Yeah.
Dylan Parham, Andre James, Juanis Grasu, Greg Van Roten, and Jermaine Illuminor. So
Whomst are these
guys
people?
These guys sound like Harry Potter characters, and I'm not about it.
Worse, they sound like Harry Potter spells.
Illuminor, Juanis Grasu. Yeah, it's bad, and
Hold on, I'm not gonna recover from that. Go ahead.
It's bad. Point blank. Defense is pretty bare too. Their secondary outside of Trevon Moehrig is pretty poor. And then D-line, we love Max Crosby.
TCU?
Yeah, TCU boy.
Okay.
Yeah. Spillane had a good year at linebacker, but D-line, Tyree Wilson is not as advertised right now. Max Crosby needs some help. Can't be just him. But yeah, main needs, running back, offensive line, corners. My picks for them. I really like these picks. These might be my favorite. I have Terrion Arnold for them in round 1, Patrick Paul round 2, and Braylon Allen in round 3.
Let me tell you the only problem with these picks. I like these picks. They're not Raiders picks. They're going to screw it up and not pick any of these 3 guys.
Good one. Yeah. They're so great. They're not going to happen.
They won't take it. Yeah. Gotcha. But if they did, this would be a absolute stud of a class for them in the first 3 picks. Yeah. Patrick Paul was one of my favorite guys coming into the Combine. He tested well. Braylon Allen was okay, but that's because he's huge.
Yeah. Right system, he's going to be okay. If you want him to catch the ball with that douchebag behind us that kept saying Braylon Allen and Sam Hartman, he's not going to catch the ball. It's not him.
Let me just tell you, I've never wanted to punch somebody in the face so hard in my entire life than that guy. Mm-hmm. And he knew it too. So I'm glad he knew it. That made my day better. Broncos, 8-9 in 2023. Bye Russ confirmed. For what, 88 million cap hit, 85 million cap hit.
It's so huge.
Rough first year for Sean Payton for sure, especially not having the quarterback that I think he wanted. Pat Surtain is a bright spot. Duh. Lots of cap hits, not many free agents. Rebuild, and rebuild, Kyle. Look for the Broncos to be aggressive in this draft because you're in one of the most competitive divisions in football, and the fates have not been kind to the Broncos since losing Peyton Manning. May I just mention Paxton Lynch and leave it there?
Mention Drew Lock and leave it there.
They're free agents. Let them go. Let them go. I think if you're rebuilding, there's no need to go out and sign guys that are going to be insanely expensive. If you're going to rebuild. Get some young guys in the building. sign some younger guys, test free agency, see what's there, trade back a little bit, pick up some guys. I think the only time they shouldn't trade back is in the first round. If you want one of those quarterbacks, you're going to have to trade up or admit defeat, tank again, and take a quarterback next year. But the problem is the quarterback class next year is very iffy compared to this class. So I don't care what free agents you're about to say, Kyle. I don't think they should really sign much of anybody unless it's an absolute need.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a bad position. I think Sean Payton does not like to lose, and he's kind of he's egotistical. Sometimes that's good. In this case, it's very bad. And I think he might want to get a quarterback, any quarterback. But listen, the rest of his team is hot garbage. It's doo-doo. And they don't have much money. They don't have much capital. It would be smart for them to rebuild, to trade back, to accumulate picks, money. But I think he might be stupid enough to trade up for someone without actually having a team around that quarterback.
For sure. Sorry, I was sharing our video on Facebook.
No,
See if we can get some more followers here.
That's the bad part about it, right? They don't have much money, so much dead cap. They might trade their receivers. Like that's the rumor that's going around that Judy and Cortland Sutton might be kaput. And if that's the case, are you going to draft a quarterback and have no one around them? Because their O-line's pretty booty too.
Yeah.
And not to mention, they cut Simmons, and they gave up 70 points earlier this season. So
to the Miami Dolphins of all teams.
I mean, Dolphins are good, but 70 points, come on. It's insane. So they are in a bad position, Brad. I mean, it's bad. It's not good. I don't know how much more I can say about it. I mean,
so I'll just tell you they need defensive line, offensive line, and corner, and every other position on the football field. So we're not even going to talk about this because literally we could throw a dart at a board and they need it.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, Jer'Zhan Newton, Graham Barton, Kyrie Jackson, boom. I'll talk about Graham Barton for a little bit just because I think he can play all 5 positions along the offensive line.
And I think he's underrated too.
Yeah. That's going to be a big steal for some team. And then Johnny Newton as well. But yeah, you can stick pretty much anything here, any blue chip guy. And I don't think anybody would get mad at you for doing that. Let's move on to the Chargers.
Do you like what I did to the picture for the Chargers?
That's nice.
5-12 in 2023. Hello, Jim Harbaugh, you big coward. Quentin Johnston has bricks for hands. He may ride the bench next year. Defense is a major problem. Tight end and O-line struggles. Michigan personality. About that Michigan personality, I think you and I have talked about this. They're going to build in the trenches first. That feels like a very Harbaugh thing to do. Yeah. However, if Odunze is there, if Neighbors is there, and Alt is there, what do you do? Free agents. Eckler. I love Austin Eckler. I do. But I don't think an aging running back is worth bringing back, especially when you've brought in Kellen Moore. You're going to be putting the ball in Herbert's hand more often and giving him more opportunities. It doesn't make sense to overpay for a running back that's probably not going to be used very much. And there's a lot of guys in the running back market right now you can probably get for cheaper than Austin Eckler is going to demand. What's their cap space?
Yep, Kenneth Murray is a free agent to cap space for the Chargers. It's a negative $20 million. They're in a rough spot too. Let's see if they did.
They had to pay all that money to Harbaugh to bring him there.
Probably. Let's see if they did anything of note. Eric Kendricks, he got released. But other than that, not much. They need lots of money. I don't think they're in a terrible position offensively, honestly. It worked at times last year. I just think with a new identity, that could just make it, an overhaul pretty quick offensively. But defensively, I think it is rough. But you're right. I think they should start in the trenches. A lot of people say they need receiver. I don't think they should take one early. I don't. I'm not in that camp at all.
This class is too deep for that.
It is.
Bigger needs.
It is. And I know Keenan Allen's getting older. I know Mike Williams was hurt. I know Quentin Johnston's kind of a bum.
Josh Palmer is okay.
Josh Palmer's, he's pretty good. I mean, that's enough for me. I think tight end's a bigger need. That's what we'll go there. Tight end's a bigger need. Defensive line, bigger need, and corner, massive need as well. You could probably throw running back in there if Eckler's gone. I think, like you said, offensive line, trenches, running game. It's going to be very important for Harbaugh. So I would look there as well. But you still got Derwin James, Asante. Alohi Gilman was pretty good. Khalil Mack's still there. Bosa's still there. Tui Pelotu's still there. But yeah, defensive line, like DE, D tackle, that 3-4 kind of defense, if that's what they're going with, needs some help. So I do have Brock Bowers there. That would be sneaky good. Mason Smith, who I am seeing getting some more buzz. Daniel Jeremiah just put him in his top 50. So I'm liking that. And then TJ Tampa as well at corner, I think could be a good physical, aggressive corner for that Michigan style of Los Angeles Chargers football.
For sure. Hey, thanks for hanging with us, guys. This is the end of our AFC offseason update. Free agency starts on March 13th. We are going to try to do NFC this weekend and bring you both so that you are very prepared for the upcoming free agency moves. Thanks for hanging, guys, and we will see you later.